everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts. Thanks for joining me for another process video. Today we are using this sketch from the Scrap Room Facebook group, and I'll tell you guys a little bit about that in a second. I am using this collection from My Mind's Eye. It is Boy Crazy and it is super old. So the photos that I'm using are of my little one on a bike ride. He got a bike for Christmas, and we struggled so much with my nephew and his ability to learn to ride a bike that when Jackson and Adam got a bike, I figured that it would be about the same, that we would have a hard time getting them to understand the concept of pedaling, of stopping, of turning circles, just the normal things that you get when you ride a bike. But not with Jackson. That boy got on the bike and he was ready to go. Like, it was as if he had been riding a bike his entire life. So these were the pictures that I took from the first time that he rode the bike. And we have this park that is very close to our house that has a circle driveway at the end, kind of like a loop around so that the cars that do come into that can make a U-turn. Very few cars come in there. Most of the time, the people who go to this park are folks that are local and they either walk or ride their bikes there. So very few cars. So it's great for us to go over there and allow them a chance to ride the bikes without me having to chase them down the streets. Unfortunately, we do not have sidewalks on the street that we live on, so it's not like they can ride up and down the road that we live on. So I follow this sketch pretty closely. I use this yellow basil paper as my background, and then this gray star paper for the center paper that's polka dotted. I wanted to use that bicycle with the saying underneath it, "Let's ride," but it was too big for where I wanted to place it. So I actually love the way that it turned out. I used this journal card and I cut out the "Let's Ride," and then I put it on top of the journaling card to cover up what was underneath it. I'm not even sure I remember what was underneath it. I used the Candied Apple Distress ink. It's a very red distress ink. It's like almost, I think, probably like, the solid color red that you would think of, like a cherry tomato red or a candy apple red, which I think is perfect for this layout. So I tried to put it down and realized that I was off a little bit on it. I wanted it more to the right so that my photos hang off the left side. So that little journaling tag there, it says "He Said" underneath it. But I think that the "Let's Ride" works so much better. So I used some fun foam on some of the photos to pop them up, and on that journaling card to pop it up. And then I do put some of the photos down flat as well. I also use fun foam on this card that says Zoom on it. And I just couldn't make the banner work. I knew that I wouldn't have enough space for it. So I actually end up putting a banner on the other side of this double page layout because I'm going to turn this one page sketch into a 2. So I pull out my other yellow cardstock and I have these 2 4x6 photos that I'm going to add to it as well. So I'm just trying to figure out what works best, and I find this blue paper with circles on it that have stars, and I cut a banner into both sides both ends of the piece of paper and add them on. And then I'm just looking for something else, some other card to add to it, and I really like this gray card here that says ready, set, go, because I think that that's perfect as well. But then as I'm looking at this layout, I'm going to add this strip here, but I don't like the way that it looks. For some reason, it just is not flowing very well for me. So I'm trying to figure it out. I cut this card down a little bit, and it still isn't going the way I want. And when I flip it around, I still am hesitating because my little one it looks like he's writing off of the page, and that design element that you always want them to write in the page, or you want them to face into the page, but it just didn't work for this layout, and it looked better with it on the left hand side. So I went with it, even though I'm probably breaking a million design records or design techniques, but do what works for you. That's what I say. And I thought that they looked better on the left, so that's what I went with. So I got my T-square ruler out, and as you guys saw, I pulled up some of my photos from when I laid it down before. I keep telling myself that I can do this straight, like I can add paper straight, and I never do. Like, I don't think that I need to, the understanding that I need to learn the lesson that I have to use my T-square ruler. It doesn't matter how straight I think I'm going to get it. It's never straight. Use my T-square ruler. So had to take some photos out and put them back on with my T-square. So now what I'm trying to do is, I left this in there because when I videoed this, my boyfriend is in Japan, and they had like taco flavored Doritos, and I was like, so they have nacho cheese? He's like, no, they're taco flavored. So showed you guys a picture of the Doritos that they had in Japan. So here's where I'm adding my banner. I just pulled out some different scraps that I had left over, and I cut out using my banner punch. And then that last one is yellow. I didn't pay attention to my background, so I knew I had to cut a different color because you can't see it at all. So I cut one more out of this like striped paper, and then that's perfect. So inking up all the edges and then using fun foam to put them all down. And I end up spelling Jackson's name on this banner. So I did want to talk to you guys about the banner. So, it didn't work for me on that right side of the page, but I still wanted to bring in that element that was on the sketch. So you can do that with your sketches. You can make them work for you however you want. Don't feel like you have to follow a sketch exactly, or if you have a one-page sketch, you can turn it into a two-page sketch. You can take a two-page sketch and turn it into a one-page sketch or a one-page layout if that's what you prefer to do. Whatever works for you. These are your layouts. There's not going to be anyone that in your family that looks through these layouts and says, well, the design element of this page, you shouldn't have done it this way. They just enjoy looking at the photos and of the things that are there. I can tell you when my families look at them, the two things that they really focus on are the photos and the journaling, because that's what's most important. Everything else makes it look pretty and it makes it festive for when you put it on the layout, but truly the most important things is that you're getting these layouts done and they're in your albums and they have journaling on them so that folks can look at them, your families can look at them and truly enjoy actual photos instead of the photos on their phone or on their computer, making sure that you get them out there. So now just working out, I pulled out some wood veneer. I also pulled out, which I didn't show you guys on video, but I pulled out my Big Shot and cut out some different shapes. So I have some stars there, some labels, an arrow, just a couple different things that I thought might work. I like to have more than what I would need, and so that I can make sure that I don't have to pull that thing back out again. So here I added this bigger star, which again, I've kind of taken the sketch and pushed it aside. I'm no longer really using the sketch. I have made the base of my layout using the sketch, and then I'm going to use what works for me, and adding that star to the photo next to it is what works for my layout. So I found this little bike, this little red bike. So I put that next to Bliss and that key. And then I think I end up using the yield sign from this sticker pack. I think I tried something else out and that I didn't like that. So I put that yield sign next to the stop and the go wood veneer. And then I add this little arrow that looks like a caution sign arrow that you would see on the road on top of that star as well. So just adding to my clusters, figuring out where I want things to go. I add this tab sticker that says December, since these photos were taken after Christmas. And I add my date stamp. And I think I've showed you guys this before, but I just use a little tissue and fold it up, wet it with some water, and then stamp until the ink is pretty much off of my roller stamp. So that's how I clean my stamps. And it's simple and easy and not much to it. So that, I added my journaling, and then that's it for this layout. Thanks everyone for watching. I will link below the Scrap Room Facebook group so you can go check it out and see all of their challenges that they have every month. I love every challenge that they do. This one is the throwback challenge. So you're supposed to use paper that is really old along with this older sketch. So thanks everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layouts, hit that subscribe button. Have a scrappy day, everyone.